Director Guillermo del Toro is back with a dark noir set in the world of the carnival and nightclubs. And maybe a bus station. Maybe there wasn't a bus station. Carnivals and nightclubs, definitely, though. We have Nightmare Alley. This is it is a remake of an older film, but it was also a book. So is it a remake of the older film, or is it another adaptation of the book? It depends on what the PR people want to say. This stars Bradley Cooper as a man that we see covering up some kind of nefarious activity as the film opens, and he's on the run. He's running from whatever he did in the past, and he finds a welcoming family in the carnival. The carnival doesn't care. Carnies don't care. Just pull your weight, and we're very welcoming. So says owner Willem Dafoe, just after he has presented a geek show to a bunch of people. So you have an interesting cast of characters. Del Toro crafts really well-made movies. This movie looks great. It's got a great period feel to it. It feels like you are where it says you are. And basically it's Bradley Cooper trying to grift and finagle his way to financial success with the help of little skills he picks up here and there from others in the carnival. He meets Toni Collette, who runs a place across the street. She does a fortune teller act with David Strathairn, and they live across the street in a place where for 10 cents you can take a bath or be bathed. And he picks up a mind-reading a mind-reading act from them, the talent. And he winds up taking that on the road with the woman he's fallen for, Rooney, who plays somebody in the carnival who can absorb electricity. It almost feels like a superhero thing, but it's a carny act. And they run off to become nightclub mesmerists or nightclub mind readers. And they meet up with somebody. I'm telling you the whole plot of the movie. They meet up with somebody who challenges them in the form of Cate Blanchett. And just things don't go well because it's a noir film. If you know anything about I took a class on noir when I was in college. So the structure, the skeleton of noir was exposed to me. Basically, film noir, most of them are a guy who's down on his luck or thinks he can get ahead by doing something a little shady. He meets a femme fatale, and things don't work out well for him. So basically, I'm not ruining anything here, but in the scheme of things don't work out well for him. So what this is basically what I just told you. It is a dark, somewhat depressing tale of people who are down on their luck in a time and place where things don't go right for most folks, trying to get a leg up any way they can, and sort of figuring out the hard way that crime doesn't pay. So Guillermo del Toro is very interesting. He's a Mexican director. I could be wrong, but I believe Mexican. He likes the kind of stuff that I like. I say that about Tarantino. We like the same stuff, so I have a tremendous amount of goodwill. He is a scholar of horror and fantasy fiction, whether it be literary or visual or TV. Heck, he does commentaries on the Night Gallery episodes on DVD and Blu-ray. And he makes really, really atmospheric films. I don't like all of them. I shouldn't say that. I don't not like Del Toro films. More often than not, they just don't connect with me. Like, I'll watch them and I'll enjoy the performances or the visuals or the story, but in the end, I'll be like, it didn't totally lock in for me. And unfortunately, that's what I have to say about Nightmare Alley. This is another one of those films that most people I know who have seen it and most people I've read who've talked about it loved it. Steve Desjarnais, director of such films as Cherry 2000 and Miracle Mile, writer of Strange Brew, he jokingly listed his top 10 movies of 2021 on Facebook, and he just put Nightmare Alley for all of them. Some people really love this. I think it was very successful visually and atmospherically. It didn't all come together for me for some reason, but overall I would say it's a good film. I'm very interested now in seeing the original film from the 40s and see how similar they are and which different directions they took. Del Toro is one to weave fantasy or fantastical elements into his films. Now, in this case, it might just be the fact that there are people in a carnival who have very specialized skills or can do strange things that may seem magical or fantastical or otherworldly. Very, very good cast as always. A lot of people who Del Toro has worked with before. You see Ron Perlman in there, and Richard Jenkins is in there. So it's really well done. I would I would recommend, if you want to see this on the big screen, because it really did sort of reach out and kind of embrace me with its atmosphere, and I really dug that. I remember another film from a similar era, Road to Perdition, doing that. The time and place and setting I saw that in, I felt like the lines around the edge of the proscenium blurred, and the difference between the reality I was sitting in and the reality of the movie blurred a little bit. It sounds like there was fumes in the theater, but it wasn't. It's just like they just do a really, really good job at drawing you in, and you really feel this rain-soaked, muddy, hay-strewn ground that this carnival sits on, and then the odd characters that pass through it. So in theaters now, probably not for, as I often will say in these because I get to them late, probably not for much longer. I would recommend it. Even though I didn't love it, I would recommend Nightmare Alley.